Oh. Good morning, Los Angeles. Good morning, New York. Good afternoon, everywhere else. Good evening, Lebanon, Syria, Turkey. We are live for the first time on High Third with my co-conspirator, Hırat Çilingiryan, and our very, very dear guests. Thank you for all making the time to join this live meeting. Welcome. So we had a rough start in the morning, so we're going to try to do our best from this live stream. Hırat had some audio issues. Now he's connecting from his phone. So right now we're going to talk a little bit about High Third. For those of you who do not know High Third, High Third has been established by, it's a brainchild of Mesro Mutafyan, just as Agos was also a brainchild of his, along with Murat Bebiroğlu. You can see Murat Bebiroğlu on the left side of the screen. Murat Bebiroğlu was an extremely dedicated person in especially this website. This website is a news aggregation website that aggregates news sometimes in 4 languages, sometimes even more than 4 languages since 2001, especially concerning Bolsa Highs, Turkish Armenians, any news, good news, bad news. And right now we're also putting some disclaimers on the bad news. So we're posting every kind of, even if it's sort of a hate speech and whatnot, we're posting everything just to keep it as an archive on our sort of vault, High Third vault. So this is the website for those of you who do not know what High Third is. And High Third is growing in size and scope. Right now we're sort of 3 people in the editorial, myself, my husband Azancan, and also who's the main sort of brain behind High Third, because he's the engineer programming everything around High Third, and also Tamar Karasu, a very esteemed member of the Bolsa High community. Both of them are helping today for us to have a nice, smooth session on Facebook so that they can tell us what kind of questions we're receiving, and also sort of looking at the live feed on Facebook. Thank you, Tamar. Thank you, Azadjan. So without further ado, I want to sort of let Hırat give me a couple of minutes so that I can also make up my mind so that what I'm going to talk about in a second. Thank you.
Thank you, Aida, for the introduction. I just wanted to sort of give a certain context to our discussion today. As we all know, since the global pandemic lockdown, we have been inundated with health and medical concerns, witnessing the death of tens of thousands of people around the globe, and experiencing unprecedented economic difficulties. I mean, no doubt we are all gravely concerned about what our world would look like in the coming weeks and months. In our Armenian national life, the developments in Armenia, obviously, and the urgent needs of the country have grabbed our attention throughout the diaspora. But our vulnerable communities spread around the world do not seem to be on the radar of our collective attention. So today we will turn our attention to diaspora communities, which were already going through major socioeconomic, political upheavals, and in some places like Syria, through a war over the last decade or so. In fact, long before the corona pandemic, these diaspora communities were already experiencing multiple local epidemics, as it were, be it in the form of poverty, insecurity, political instability, social dislocation, and a wide range of other uncertainties. So our discussion today will focus on 4 such vulnerable communities in Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, and Argentina. And importantly as well, we will be having the perspective from Yerevan. So now I would like to ask my colleague Aida to take us to what is going on in Turkey. Aida?
Yes. Thank you, Huraj, for the introduction. We wanted to do this with Huraj for a while, but pandemic a little bit accelerated everything because we wanted to do this living room series. We're talking about it almost maybe 6 months to 9 months. I cannot remember when you were the last time here. So it's accelerated things. I just want to start by saying that two of our guests were not able to join us today because they have immediate, sort of last minute urgent meetings. One of them is Dr. Armenak Mezadurian. He's the chief doctor for head of the Surprigic Hivantanot Surprigic Hospital in Istanbul. And that hospital has been designated as a pandemic hospital by the Turkish Ministry of Health. So he was going to talk about that experience. And also we have an elderly people's sort of home in the same hospital. We were going to get his account of what happened there. But eventually, hopefully, we're going to be able to have him as a guest on the program. Our second guest was Hachik Janel. Hachik Janel graciously met with me yesterday in order to be able to tell me about their efforts and what's going on in the community. Sorry, allergies. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I heard from him. I took notes when I was interviewing him yesterday. Please bear with me. I also want to say one or two things about one of our dear community members of Istanbul, whom we lost in the tender age of 56 years of age last week, Harut Shanlı. I just want to show a picture of him and then continue what I heard from Hachik Janel. Bear with me for a second. So Harut Shanlı was the head of the church council at the Gedikpaşa Subhavannes Church, and he caught coronavirus some, I guess, 50 days ago. He fought a long battle, but he was unfortunately not saved. This is him. And we have some 20 Armenian community members, Volsai community members, whom we lost to coronavirus this year, unfortunately. Harut Shanlı was an extremely loved member of and respected member of the community, Asvat Hokin Lusavore. So now, so I'm going to go back to our meeting with Hachik Janel and open my notes so that I can come back to this discussion. Okay, please bear with me. I have to put my glasses so that I can read. So Hachik and we met yesterday in the afternoon, and he gave me a very good account of what's going on. Hachik Janel is an engineer by training, computer engineer, but he is also a chairman of the Relief Coordination Group. And he gave us a brief summary of the situation in Bolis. So this was a group in Istanbul that was established through the initiative and blessing of His Beatified Patriarch Saak Mashalian in mid-March. And the group started to distribute the first care packages by March 22nd. So they were able to put everything together quite fast. And they have several phases of the relief. The first phase of the relief efforts consisted of 7 rounds of distribution, because they are distributing to almost 1,700 families as we're speaking. So between March 22nd and April 20th, some 1,700 families were reached and received their first batch of relief packages. This first package contained basic food staples and cleaning materials, enough to sustain each family for a month. Currently, the coordination group is in the second round of distributing care packages, which includes other food items added in the package. So they're rotating the food items every month. And the packages also are being redistributed in a rotational schedule to both native Bolsahais, Istanbul Armenian families, and migrant Hayastansi families from Armenia. In total, despite the fact that we have a number of churches, they designated 8 churches in Istanbul to help with the coordination and distribution of the assistance, and they are distributing to satellite churches. For example, the 8 churches that we have here are Feriköy, Samatya, Kumkapı, Üsküdar, Ortaköy, Yeşilköy, Bakırköy, and Kadıköy. But for example, Samatya is also distributing to Yenikapı district, and they reach out to other nearby neighborhoods, as well as to assistance needing persons on the church's list. So they have extensive list of people who are in need. Each of these churches have some 10 to 12 staff members on board, virtually working full-time every day to coordinate all aspects of the relief work. In normal times, churches provide assistance to about 500 families in Istanbul, but today the number has gone up to 1,700 families because of the pandemic. So this is something that is expected. And the relief group is going to assess the need at the end of June again, because the Turkish government is slightly opening by then. So they're going to assess who needs more or less need by that time. And they're going to sort of look at the job and income losses, where they have been continuous or whatnot. Because especially among the Hayastansi families, there are some that are making around $600 per month each member of the family. So they may eventually, if they go back to their jobs, they may be like taken off of that list. But the churches says that they're going to continue to deliver for 500 families up until the end of the year, for another year. Hachik also wants to let you know that Bolsoy organizations, all of them, and hundreds of individual donors and philanthropists have joined the relief efforts by donating to the coordination fund, which is likely to continue for a while. And other parish organizations, such as youth organizations, altar servers, Merin Tibratstası, choirs, etc., are also volunteering for other logistics, for instance, preparing individual care packages. And in the last 3 weeks, and this is the reason why Hachik could not join today, because he had to join another meeting from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. today for this new initiative. This is a new group that has been created by the young professionals in the community called Destek, or support. And they volunteer their time to call and check on the elderly and other members of the community who may be in need of a range of assistance. For instance, one person was in need of legal help since there was sequestration on their retirement pension, which normally should not be done, but there is like a cumbersome process that you have to apply. So there's bureaucracy involved. So the support group, the lawyers and support group, they were able to reach this person and then solve this issue on their behalf. More often than not, people have issues with their medication refills. Turkey has a central system, therefore, our pharmacists on this committee, on the support committee, they can go in the system and look for that individual's prescriptions and then renew the prescriptions and then make sure that they have their prescription on time. Besides this, we couldn't reach for this time because our cancellations have been done yesterday. So we didn't have time to really connect to a new set of people. But eventually in the future, we're going to talk to them as well. Hachik wanted to let us know that there's another group of women in the communities called Volunteer Ladies, Gamavor Diginler, who are assisting the elderly and those who live alone or the families in need for moral support, psychological moral support. They call them on a daily basis, how they are doing or whether they need something, and pray with them and provide comfort in these dire times. So as you can see, the community in Istanbul is once more fully mobilized and is watching out for members who are in need. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aida.
This was not me. I was just saying that this is Hachik Janel, not my own.
Yeah, thank you, Aida, for the briefing. I think it's wonderful that the community in Istanbul has been well mobilized, and it looks like the issues and problems that we had seen in the last half a year or so have resolved, and the community sort of has come together. I'm sure there will be other issues in the coming weeks and days. Now I would like to turn to three of our panelists, starting with His Grace Bishop Armash Nalbantian, the primate of the Diocese of Damascus, who will be telling us about what's going on in the Syrian Armenian community. And then we will have Serop Ohanian, the director of the Karagosian Center in Burj Beirut, Lebanon, whose center does wonderful work with hundreds of people on a daily basis. And Dr. Hachik Dergugasyan in Buenos Aires, a political scientist and a leader in the community who will talk to us about what's going on in this important but a lot of times forgotten community in South America. And what I would like to ask our panelists, starting with Serpazan, is...
Raj, sorry, can I just interrupt you for a second? I just wanted to say one thing in Turkish. Sevgili Haytert izleyenleri, bir süre sonra ben Haçik Canel'in söylediklerini Türkçe'ye çevireceğim. Ancak şimdi programın akışına bırakıyorum. Sonuna doğru anlattıklarımı Türkçe'de anlatacağım. I just told them that I'm going to translate to Turkish what I just said about the Bolsa High community towards the end of the program. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah. Thank you. So what I would like now is to discuss is, because as we mentioned, these vulnerable communities already had enormous number of issues that they were dealing over the last few years. So Serpazan, if I may ask you to tell us a little bit about some of the issues you were already facing before the pandemic in Syria. How is the community coping now with the pandemic? And perhaps we can later come to some of the longer term problems you might have. So, Serpazan.
Yes. Yes, good afternoon, good morning for everyone, and thank you very much for this invitation. And I appreciate so much this discussion, which is so needed and so welcome. You know, it is well known how the situation was here in this region and especially in Syria. After 9 or already 10 years of war and subsequent crisis, not least to mention the economic crisis in Lebanon, the people here in Syria, and especially the Armenian community members, have suffered a lot. It is many who have left the country for a better future and found their new lives in the Western countries. There are many, they also left the country for Armenia, and we have already many Syrian Armenians in Armenia too. During this time, people have used up their all savings because of the war situation, economic situation, economic crisis, etc. So in this time, many have lost their jobs and are already dependent on the help and support of the diocese social services and of the services of charities of our community, like Oknutyan Khach, like Pare Korzagan, Pare Siragan, etc. And now, due to the drastic decline in the number of members, the activities are held in a humble and modest way. I mean, the activities in the Armenian clubs, Miutyun, Agum, but also in the Armenian school. The church and the Armenian associations do their best to maintain the life of the congregation and the community. I have to say that through the grateful worldwide donations of the Armenian organizations worldwide, we have in recent years created such as an emergency commission to provide spiritual, medical, and economic support in the field of education, housing, nutrition, etc. And this is few information that you have to understand that fortunately or unfortunately, the Syrian community has already this experience to cope with crises and now with this pandemic crisis that hurt everyone worldwide. Coming back to the situation today, I can say, or may only to mention, according to the statement of the government or the Minister of the Health, we have in Syria only 42 infected people with COVID-19, and already 11 of them they recovered. Like most churches everywhere in worldwide and also in Syria, we have adapted the best we can actually. While it is definitely not the same as being together and join the services, the liturgy, Badarak in person. Although we had announced that the services will be held indoor, so church doors remain open at St. Turkish Church in Damascus and also in other cities in Syria. And I can note that sometimes few faithful came to the liturgy, Badarak, and other services. On the other hand, all in-person liturgical services and cultural programmings are on pause. So, but social media has been a significant mode of communication with the faithful.
Sure. Thank you, Sarpazan.
Or just few words too, maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Also, Sarpazan. Yeah.
Yeah.
About some of the things that you are doing now in terms of helping the community.
Yes. So when the pandemic forced us to close the doors of our churches, we were able to bring the churches to the homes of our faithful through the use of social media. So the church services, including the Holy Week, Avak Shapat, and Easter, Zadik, and commemoration of the holy martyrs of the Armenian genocide, and on a weekly basis, recorded messages of encouragement and other materials for spiritual nourishment, including devotional messages, were streamed online. In a recent show of solidarity, the clergy and their heirs of the diocese and the church are active by keeping in contact with their faithful, individually and visiting the families for house blessing, the Nordneck, but also delivering the Holy Communion for the elderly and for the people who do not want to leave the house or they are not able to leave the house. Mm-hmm. So the church, but also the cultural and charitable Armenian unions, I mean, Pare Korzagan, Oknutyan Haj, Norserun Mishaguta Miyutun, Tekia Miyutun, etc. They play an important role in people's daily lives, and also in the life of the members of our community. So they are uniquely positioned to support people and foster resilience during the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Because of their moral authority and wide networks, they provide sources for solidarity, knowledge, authority, and meaning. So the Diocese of Damascus maintains its integral roles as a religious, cultural, and humanitarian organization, and is delivering much needed assistance to the most vulnerable faithful of the community by supporting various initiatives. Maybe later what we are doing now and what we are...
in terms of what are the 2 or 3 issues or problems that you think the community will be facing in the next 12 months or so, the Syrian Armenian community?
Yes, you know, we don't know, unfortunately, how long it's going to do this crisis time, but the diocese has already provided equipment for disinfection as both disinfectant, and has already disinfected the offices of the diocese, the buildings of the church and agums miyutyums. And now the diocese has mobilized volunteer youth, Yeridasartats miyutyumner, Skaudagan Yeridasartner, who are now ready to disinfect the houses shops, stores, and apartments of church members as needed and upon request. I think despite the need of social distancing, this is a time to connect, especially with those in need. And this is the strength of our community in Syria, and to build innovative relationships with our members. So we can continue to provide as much spiritual, emotional, and moral and material support as we can, and continue to check in with and support our members, asking what they need. Agums, Miyukyuns, unions offering, organizing grocery deliveries to seniors and people in need in form of food baskets, in form of sanitary items, etc. And during this time of crisis, people may find the strength, hope, and purpose through their connections to the Armenian unions, clubs, and the church. So what we suffered now in this time, also the educational, I mean, problems, because the schools are closed already more than 2 months. So now we are planning to organize a kind of summer school, and this summer school would not be like a school in a vacation time, but it's a real school as much as we can do that, so that our school children can make up for what was missed.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Pazan. I'm sure we will come to some of these points that you made about the school and the needy, but yeah. I'd like to now move to Beirut and ask Serop if you could give us an idea about the situation in Lebanon. Serop's microphone is not on.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah. Yes, we hear you.
First of all, hello everybody. Those of you who are also hearing us or seeing us online, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hello there. Before I start, I want to say 2 things. First of all, this day. So I want to congratulate all of the nurses because you guys are frontliners. Happy Nurses Day. And also month of May amongst the Army. So happy Mother's Day. So thank you. Lebanon, coming to us, Lebanon is very vibrant community, and we've been experiencing turmoils since 2011, 2012, where Lebanon faced so much of Syrian refugees, and among the Syrian refugees, they were our fellow Armenians coming from Syria. So from the year 2012, exactly, in Lebanon, we formed ad hoc relief committee where everybody was involved, so that all of the entities, the church leaders, etc. And since 2012, we've been running up this situation, this difficult situation, and trying to provide relief support for the Armenians, whether the Lebanese came the Corona COVID crisis, so the situation became from bad to worse. It is getting difficult day by day. So in Lebanon, there are many entities, many parties, many organizations, unions are involved in providing relief agencies. So starting from the Catholicosate Church, the Aram, the first Behapars, call to provide social assistance services for everybody who got affected. Then we have the Armenian prelate, the prelacy. We have the Armenian evangelical community. We have the Armenian Catholic Church. We have the Armenian Orthodox Church, as I said, the prelate. We have the parties. We have the Tashnak Party, the Hunchak Party, the Ramgavar Party, the AGBU, the clubs. All of the clubs are involved. We have the women's auxiliary unions of St. Echmiadzin Church and other women auxiliary. We have the Armenian Relief Society and the Relief Foundations, the Jinishan Memorial Foundation and the Howard Karagosian Foundation. The schools, Haigazian University. So it's Lebanon. It's pretty much active. Everybody is doing its best in order to provide relief assistance for our fellow Armenians. Before the Corona crisis, during October, Lebanon, the Lebanese erupted, and there was this boycott and campaigns against the government. We witnessed the fall of the government, and then gradually we witnessed the fall of the Lebanese currency, the Lebanese lira. It appreciated more than 100%. So Lebanese people lost their purchasing power. The unemployment rate has, and many people lost their jobs, including the Armenians. And it put additional burden of Armenian organizations, Armenian churches, Armenian unions to provide the best possible relief services as possible. So we divided the task into 3 parts. I'm going to be very quick. So the first part is that the Tashnak Party created a Corona emergency relief unit to serve for everybody. And this Corona emergency relief unit had good meetings with the Lebanese official government parties, such as the Lebanese Ministry of Public Health, Lebanese Ministry of Social Affairs, and various governmental hospitals. So the Corona emergency relief unit did a tremendous job in following up all of the Armenian cases who were detected positive of the COVID viruses, and they were detained inside the governmental hospitals in Lebanon. So any Armenian person who was hospitalized, this person, we knew about this person through the Corona Emergency Relief Committee run by the Tashnak Party. So, so by this way, the cooperation became better and better. I'm talking governmental point of view and you know, collaboration, coordination with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Social Affairs, etc., etc. And through the unit, others such as our organizations and others, we will be able to contact the families and do the necessary follow-up, because we know that that we have this much Armenians in the governmental hospitals suffering from Corona crisis. So we have the first one, governmental level, and the Tashnak Party's involvement to follow up with the government, etc. The second part, we have the local NGOs. Local NGOs are pretty much active, very much active. However, all of us have limited budget. All of us do suffer from scarcity of funds, and every NGO is very much involved and in a way has taken certain aspect. For example, our NGO, Howard Karagosian Foundation, and the Armenian Relief Society, both of us are recognized officially as part of the primary healthcare centers locally. When I say primary healthcare, I mean like a dispensary who people come, who receive healthcare services, and then they go they go out. So both of us represent towards the Lebanese government, Lebanese Ministry of Public Health, and both of us are pretty much active, where we did not close our centers, and daily we received cases and patients to provide treatment, medical treatment, not necessarily COVID treatment. If we suspected any patient who needed to be referred to governmental facilities to do the COVID rapid test. So we referred those cases, and we provided certain support. Besides the two organizations, big organizations, there were many small mini dispensaries were created amongst the agums or amongst the church neighborhoods run by the Armenian Relief Society, so that people would not come all the way from other areas to Burchamut to come to the Karagosian Center or to come to Armenian Relief Society Center. So there were many, let's call them satellite small clinics, where inside those satellite small clinics, Armenians receive the necessary treatment. And then the third part is relief work, not medical, relief work. I say, when I say relief work, I mean food vouchers, individual care packages, several type of assistance, where we seen and we witnessed many amongst the Armenians living in Lebanon, whether the Syrian Armenians or Lebanese Armenians, do needed this type of assistance. So all in all, I'm talking about 5,000 Armenian families who are in need of some sort of assistance, whether relief or medical or even hospital assistance. And the Armenian relief organizations, including our organization, the Karagosian Foundation, we are trying our best to provide help and support to the Armenians. Of course, the Union of the Armenian Physicians are very much active. So the COVID Emergency Relief Committee has put an 24 hours, 24/7 online mobile number where anyone can call to this phone, and from this phone it can be referred to the physicians to provide any sort of assistance. And the third part is the schools. You know, the schools were closed already. Armenian schools were suffering from economic situation, economic distress, and really difficult situations. The Armenian students, as well as every student, you know, they followed their educational services through online educational system. For example, the Karagosian Foundation, we had this special program to provide psychosocial support for Armenian children and their parents. I mean, this program was in joint collaboration with the Gulbenkian Foundation, where we used to provide monthly 200, you know, psychosocial support to 200 Armenian children and their families and their parents. So this psychosocial support continued during the COVID pandemic phase, and it expanded more as we have identified and selected more Armenian families do need mental health care services or psychosocial support. So we continued this through by giving online sessions by our psychologists or speech therapists or special educators or psychiatrists. So this is it all in all about Lebanon. The situation is very bad. Armenians are working together, and we're trying our best to provide the best possible support. I want to thank for every donor who is supporting through various organizations, whether the Karagosian Foundation or others. As for the Karagosian Foundation, our board kept keen on a weekly basis, where we tried our best to keep the center operational. For example, our center, we did not close. We have a team of 50 healthcare workers, where every day we welcomed 100 patients. And after April 26, we started to work back to normal. And now the 100 patients became 250 patients. Every day, the Karagosian Center is receiving 250 patients, where we are providing primary healthcare services for all. we have every day, we have 15 physicians working parallelly, which means 15 clinics, 15 rooms next to each other, different specialties, and so that everyone would receive healthcare services without any discrimination. Of course, this is what we do, so that we're trying as much as possible to reach out to those who need medical services and psychosocial services. For the relief work, we are referring to other organizations such as the churches, the AGBU, the Armenian Relief Society, the AGUMS, the Tashnak Party, Tashnak and Ramgabar parties, Armenian youth associations, and there are many also personal or private initiatives who are lending their hands to provide the best possible help and support to the Armenians living in Lebanon, Syrian Armenians or Lebanese Armenians living not only in Burj Hamud, also in Antillas, in Jebel, in Byblos, or in Anjar, so that all of us would provide the best possible services.
Yeah. Thank you, Serop, for that very thorough briefing about the situation. Obviously, there are many similarities between Lebanon and Syria, but also many differences. Perhaps we could come back about the prospects in the coming months. Now, I would like to go to Dr. Khachik Dergougassian in Buenos Aires. Obviously, Argentina has a different context, but it has had its many issues in the last 12 months, least of which the economic crisis, the devaluation of the currency, and so on. So, Khachik, could you give us a briefing about the community in Argentina? We need to turn the microphone on. Yes.
Sure. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Aida and Aitet. First of all, let me congratulate for these initiatives. The initiative, I mean, you know, I think that this is the first ever debate streaming. It's an initiative that came from the diaspora, to vulnerable communities in the diaspora. So maybe we can, in the middle of this, you know, pandemic, we can have some little hope that diaspora is still alive and we can look forward to the post-pandemic world. It's amazing. I mean, we are reading about all the steps that were taken in Lebanon, in Istanbul, in Syria, and everywhere else, in Los Angeles, but we were not able to, you know, maybe exchange our opinions, think about the future of diaspora. And unfortunately, we didn't receive any signal from Yerevan either in this sense. So thank you for taking this initiative. Secondly, thank you for inviting us.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Your voice is.
You have a little bit of a problem with your voice feed, like audio feed. It got a little patchy.
Okay, now it's better,
It's okay,
Khachik.
yeah.
Okay, continue.
Is it better now?
Yes,
Better now,
it's
yeah.
better now.
Okay, and thank you for inviting me. When I say me, it's Argentina, in general, South America. And, you know, our vulnerability in general comes from our, to use a geopolitical classical paradigm of the Armenian situation, or peripheral situation, condition. We are the periphery of the Armenian world. And so we always have a connectivity problem, an integration problem, not as much as in terms of, you know, traveling to Armenia, that is pretty much alive, but integration in a broader sense. And this peripheral condition makes that the Armenians living in Argentina, in Uruguay, and Sao Paulo, but also probably we should include also Venezuela, Chile, and Mexico to talk about the broader Latin American perspective, Armenians living here are facing, great challenges, first of all, in terms of their identity, their connectivity with the rest of the diaspora. And these were the challenges before the pandemic. Fortunately, and this is paradoxal or maybe a light of hope if you want, this is also one of the oldest communities of the diaspora. And we have already a fourth generation coming into age, a generation born and raised in Argentina, in Uruguay, and in Brazil, and maintaining, the Armenian identity and being engaged with the Armenian community in the fourth generation, fifth generation was not even, no one even thought about that before. Now, having said that, since the centennial of the Armenian genocide, and especially for the last 4 years, there was an important step forward in the organizational aspect of the community. I'm talking about Argentina basically here, in the sense that the cooperation between different institutions took a form of a forum. We call it the Armenian Institution of the Argentine, of the Republic of Argentina, or YARA, as it is known, and to put together a community agenda. What are our needs? What are the basic common perspective of our identity that we share among others, and we maintain our diversity in terms of, ideological, political approaches to things and everything else. So that forum took a pretty much institutionalized form, and we have been able to engage with different organizations, especially the Carlos Gulbenkian Foundation. And one of the main challenges that we had was the Armenian. Armenian is not the language that we use when we speak with each other, but we have 7 Armenian schools, which is also, something interesting to think about it. So we were engaged in making the teaching of the Western Armenian one of the most important challenges that we had in this community. I can add to that the political activism of the community was important. We made a very important steps forward in this sense, in the sense of our integration within the political process of the region of Argentina, of Uruguay, and of Brazil. And the third one, it's an ever-present challenge for our institutions, especially in Argentina, is, the economical challenges. This is a country where every 10 years we have an economic crisis, devaluation of the currency, and all our institutions go through very difficult phases. And then came the pandemic. Fortunately, in Argentina, we have a government who was wise enough to preventive steps. Very early, the lockdown was declared, and this is a government who said that we have a tremendous economic problem with our foreign debt, with the currency which is devaluated, but first and foremost, lives matter. So the pandemic, the struggle against pandemic, the lockdown since March 20 is working, and is working pretty well. Argentina is doing on the hemispheric level very well, along with Uruguay and I think 4 other countries, much better than, let's say, I don't know, Brazil for sure, but also the United States, even Canada, if we think about, the cases, the deaths, etc. But also internationally, pretty much engaged. Of course, this is the pandemic has a tremendous impact on the economic and social aspects of the country, and this we will feel after the pandemic. We will feel it very, very deeply. Now, let me say also this, that in Buenos Aires, Cordoba, Rosario, and Mar del Plata, I'm naming the the most important cities where there are Armenian communities in Argentina, but also in Montevideo, Uruguay, also in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The institutions are in the different neighborhoods. They are concentrated, especially in Buenos Aires, but that is not the case of the Armenians living in these cities. Of course, you can find pretty much Armenian families living around the institution, but they are dispersed. This makes the organizing the community was pretty much different than in other countries. So what we did from the first day of the pandemic, and using, of course, the social media especially, was to call to the whole community to, stay in home. All the activities in institutions in the church were canceled, but we made a public call to follow strictly what the government said in order of the lockdown. And parallelly, major institutions like the church, the Armenian Revolutionary Federation, Tashnaktutyun, the Armenian Relief Society, AGBU, took different initiatives. First of all, they put their community centers, institutional centers, at the service of the local government. When I say local, it's the municipality, if we have a sudden outbreak of the pandemics. The second initiative that we took especially was to create groups of volunteers, doctors, medical doctors, nurses, healthcare workers like biochemists and others who work in hospital. We formed a group of volunteers to attend the needs of especially the elderly, the elderly. We established a hotline for psychological support for the community, and the special concern was the house of the elderly, the Zerano Tsankastiandun, which is owned and run by the Armenian Relief Society. They are the most vulnerable spots in this pandemic. And actually, we had a case when a 103 years old, not Armenian, not of original, not an Armenian descent of the grandfathers who were in the house died, but fortunately it was not so. All the protocols of the pandemic was put into work, but fortunately it was not because of the pandemic. And thank God, nothing is the pandemic has not reached the elderly house. We were able, and this was amazing because we were able to give a very professional and intensive use of social media, and be able to organize the 105th anniversary of the Armenian genocide. And it was amazing because we can do all this without the pandemic also, but sort of the pandemic gives us the opportunity to see how important it was to invest in this field much more professionally than we did before. And we are in contact, permanently contact all the institutions through the social media. We just for instance, all the church services are done are on Facebook. Nobody goes to church in these conditions, and we are already thinking about what is coming after the pandemic. We are not still at the critical phase in the southern part of the planet. Autumn and winter are here, and probably we'll have more cases during the next 3 or 4 weeks with the cold coming into Argentina, Uruguay, and well, Brazil not that much, but especially Argentina. the cold days coming, but we'll see. We'll see, because we have a great hope that, you know, we will not have the disaster that in other countries the pandemic caused. But we will have a great challenge after the pandemic. And that will be the economic challenge of all the institutions. Argentina is facing a tremendous foreign debt. They are struggling both against the pandemic and you know, the service of the debt, and they are renegotiating. They are renegotiating the foreign debt. We don't know what the world that will follow the pandemic will be. So that is probably the greatest concern. We are thinking about the post-pandemic world as if everything will go to the normal, but in fact, this will be a new normal. And so the big question is, what does it mean, the new normal, for the Armenian diaspora especially? Will this be a common practice? You know, getting more together through the social media and thinking about our present and our future. I don't know, but we are starting to give it some thinking here. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Derogasian, for your, you know, extremely well contextualizing within the larger Argentinian political economic, you know, conditions in the here and now, which is something that I didn't do at the beginning, because I really want to hear from our Bolso High community later, maybe in the following weeks, in terms of the medical response and whatnot, in the larger economic context of Turkey. Turkey obviously also suffered a good deal of devaluation and also post-coup further authoritarian sort of tendencies in the government, which also has to do with a lot of other issues that I don't want to go delve in. Right now, thank you for your sort of contextualizing everything for us. Right now, I'm going to move to our last dear guest, Saran Jargolyan. Saran Jargolyan is the Chief of Staff of the Office of High Commissioner for Diaspora Affairs in the Republic of Armenia. And I have two questions for her, which I'm going to ask separately. So I'm going to ask the first question, get the answers, and then ask a second question, if it's fine with you, Sarah.
Of course.
Oh, what was the view, policy, thinking in Yerevan about vulnerable communities in the diaspora? For example, Syria, Iraqi, Lebanese diasporic communities who were in Yerevan prior to the pandemic. What were the efforts prior to the pandemic?
Okay, prior to the pandemic, obviously the two large communities that came in were from Iraq as well as from Syria, and some of the community members from those two communities did end up staying in Armenia. Many considered Armenia mostly as a pass-through to other countries like Canada, US, et cetera, et cetera. In the previous government, before the revolution, there was some attempts at trying to keep, for example, the Syrian Armenian community in Armenia. Unfortunately, those attempts were not particularly successful, in that the same issues that a Hayastansi would deal with in terms of lack of economic opportunities, lack of, healthcare options, et cetera, were also being faced by our Syrian Armenian compatriots. So many of them chose to leave Armenia and live elsewhere. In this new government, particularly our office, as it relates to myself and the High Commissioner Zara Sinanyan, we've been in this about 10 months now, has not even been a year. And just as right before the pandemic, our plan and Zirakir was to be in Syria and Lebanon right away. We were going to be in Syria for Easter and Lebanon right after, or the opposite. And mostly because we wanted to obviously understand what's going on specifically in Lebanon, although many of our compatriots were giving us, quite a detailed analysis as Serop did, but also to be able to perhaps give options for Lebanese Armenians who may be interested in repatriating and making their life here in Armenia. In fact, we had a wonderful plan, a wonderful conversation with the Minister of High-Tech Industries, Hagop Arshagyan, to perhaps present options in the tech sector in Armenia, for just as an example of something that perhaps young Lebanese Armenians would want to take advantage of. So these were the plans pre-COVID, was to reach out into these communities physically. Post-COVID, we're doing it online. So should I keep going, Ida, or do you want to?
I can just ask a second question. The second question,
Sure.
If there are any programs that you were going to develop or implement regarding Armenians in the Middle East that were disrupted by a pandemic, which you covered a little bit, but I want to hear more.
Yeah. Well, look, let me quickly say that the last 3 months basically since mid-March, the last 2 months, our office's role has changed very drastically, right? Originally, the office's role was to be a critical bridge between Armenia and diaspora. When the Ministry of Diaspora was closed and the Office of the High Commissioner for Diaspora Affairs was created, it was elevated, right? So our office is in the Prime Minister's office. Myself and High Commissioner Sinanyan are within the Prime Minister's office. And we were meant to be a bridge between Armenia diaspora. And we started in 2019. In 2020, we had a very healthy budget in order to be in every community across the world. In fact, our budget was larger than the Ministry of Diaspora ever had, just so you know, in terms of the importance that this was given. And so we had it all scheduled out. And obviously, we have about a team of 50 people. So the plan was to be in every community physically and then, and then virtually. Now we've gone directly virtually. So very quickly, we have the first month of the pandemic, I have to say, we were not able to get our mind around doing what we're doing now. The first month of the pandemic was completely emergency management. Why am I saying that? Because the Ministry of Health, our Ministry of Health here, very quickly needed our help on two fronts. A, we needed to bring in critical PPEs into the country. We simply did not have enough masks and gowns and et cetera. So the thing that myself and Mr. Sinana had to do, which is the thing that we never wanted to do in this office, was to ask for help in that direction. We always came into this office as wanting to have equal partners on both sides. But very quickly, we organized with AGBU, Gulbenkian Foundation, Mr. Eduardo Ernequian, with, who did I miss? AGBU, Gulbenkian, Eduardo Ernequian, and Izmilian Foundation. We quickly organized a military plane that went to China. $500,000 of PPEs came to the country. So that was our first focus. The second focus was to bring very critical diaspora healthcare knowledge into the country. So we were asked, and I know I'm going on a tangent, but I think it's very important for people to know where our brain was in the first month of this pandemic. Ministry of Health again asked, can we bring high-level people from the diaspora into Armenia to help us manage our ICU, help us manage how we're going to be dealing with our, the amount of, let's say, drugs we have here, et cetera. Unfortunately, all of those same diaspora professionals everywhere from South America to Middle East to the United States and Canada were needed where they are, and they were overwhelmed. So we tried to mimic that through webinars and teleconferences. So right now, in fact, as we speak, there's one anesthesia teleconference happening right now where we're pairing diaspora healthcare professionals with all the healthcare professionals here. And they are doing actually case analysis. So right now we have over 3,000, altogether we have 3,000 COVID positive people in Armenia. 1,200 have recovered. So we still have a fairly large COVID positive population in terms of about 1,800-ish, and they are being held, they're in the hospitals. Nobody is quarantining at home if they're COVID positive, they're all in the hospitals. And so our diaspora doctors through telemedicine are actually doing case analysis. So a physician, an ICU physician sitting in the diaspora will be paired with an ICU physician here, and they'll actually try to deal with a particular case down to the ventilator settings or, the type of medicine, et cetera. So our first month was very much like that. Now that we have all realized, I think all of us have realized that we're in this for the long journey, and we are not going to be traveling, unfortunately, to any diaspora communities anytime soon. we basically took the whole budget related to traveling and put it into having these kinds of conversations. So we just started. We've already done 2 with Europe, 1 with Russia. We're going to do France on Monday, and we're going to be reaching out, obviously, to your communities to have these kinds of discussions with you and so on and so forth for the near future. Maybe I should also mention the vulnerable communities here. The problem we have in terms of our Syrian Armenian population here that continues to live here is the vulnerability is that many of them live in rental situations. And so when the pandemic hit, this was a group of people that was particularly vulnerable. And so what we've been, so despite the fact that the government has about 17 social welfare and economic packages, those are for both for Armenian citizens and residents. So yes, our Syrian Armenian compatriots can apply for that. Anybody can apply for that. But unfortunately, because there's also this heavy rent burden on them, there's a need of extra assistance. So together with our office, ours is not financial assistance, but more coordination assistance. We're working with AGBU, who has already given 200 families cash assistance, Aleppo NGO giving cash assistance, UNHCR, which is applying for grants to give cash assistance to that particular population. I can keep going, but I'll stop there.
No, I have one last question about whether you have any communities, refugee communities that are waiting for adjustment of status besides these Syrians who are in rental. Like, in other words, is there any community centers or refugee centers that people are waiting for adjustment of status, and what is their situation in terms of pandemic and other helps?
When you say adjustment of status, do you mean becoming citizens or residents of the country?
Yes, yes.
Perhaps, Ida, but I don't know the numbers on that. It's not something I have at my fingertips.
Okay, great. So perhaps we should take a couple of questions. How should we do this, Hurac?
Okay,
Ida, I just wanted to mention one more thing. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
Oh, my apologies.
No, go ahead.
One more thing I forgot to mention. So approximately 23,000 Armenians from the diaspora have returned to Armenia during this time period. So that in order to return to Armenia, you need to be a citizen of the Republic of Armenia or a resident of the Republic of Armenia, or have some kind of residency status, or an immediate family member of someone who is a resident or a citizen. So based on that, about 23,000 people have come back in the ever since March 14. From Lebanon, from Russia, from Czech, from Ukraine, from US, et cetera, et cetera. And all of that has been done either through charter flights or buses, coming from Turkey, et cetera. And all of it has been organized by the Armenian government. Many of those tickets were paid for also by the Armenian government.
Great.
Ida, while you are selecting the questions, I want to give a short briefing in Armenian for our audience, the Armenian-speaking audience, about just to make some points. As you look for the questions that are coming in from the Facebook and other platforms. Գուզեմ հայերենով քանիմը գեդեր շեշտել ինչպես կտեսնենք այսօր քանիմը կարևոր հանգամանքներ կան որոնց մասին ավելի դեղեկացանք առաջին հերթին վստահ եմ որ բոլորիս մտահոգության գետրոնն է եւ դիլա եկող շաբաթներում ինչպես լսեցինք Թուրքիա, Լիբանան, Սուրիա մոտավորապես այսօր մենք դեղյակ եղանք որ 10,000-ի ավելի հայ ընտանիքներ կոնե այն թիվերում որ ծանոթ ենք 10,000-ի ավելի հայ ընտանիքներ գարիք ունին դարբեր ծևի օգնություններու իրենց երկրի արդեն դեղի ունեցած պայմաններու պատճառով բայց նաև համաճարակը կարծեք ավելի խիստ պայմաններ ստեղծած են երկրորդ կետը որ այսօր գանտրատարանք որ իրականությունը այն է որ յուրաքանչյուր համայնք ինքն իր յուղով կդապկվի որքան որ կարևոր է որքան որ գրնան եւ գարելի է արաբելությունը կամ ասենք թրագան գեդը այդտեղ այն է որ գարձեք այս համաճարակի պատճառով professional սերունդը նոր սերունդը զորաշարժի մտածե եւ համայնքներու յուրաքանչյուր համայնքի գարիքները հոգալու համար բավական լուրջ աշխատանք գազագերբված աշխատանք կդարվի որ իրոք շատ ծրական երևույթ մնե այսինքն այսօր մենք սպիրկյան մեր կյանքի մեջ ոչ թե միան միջին ամերիկի մեջ կամ հարավային ամերիկա ոչ թե միան ինքնության հայաբահմանման հայկական ինքնության խնդիրներու մասին է որ պիտի մտածենք կամ ավելի շեշտադրում գտնենք ահավասիկ այսօր ունենք շատ ավելի լուրջ առողջապահական մարդոց ապահովության էկոնոմիկ դնդեսական իրենց պայմաններու եւ դժվարությունները հաղթահարելու այդ խնդիրը եւ հստակ է որ բոլորս սպիրկի մեջ բոլոր համայնքներս եկող ամիսներուն եւ թերևս դարիներուն պիտի ունենանք լուրջ նյութական խնդիրներ անհատաբար համայնքային մագարտակով եւ ընդհանրապես իբր սպիրկյան համայնքներ այսինքն կարևոր է նաև մեր համայնքային կառույցները սկսին մտածել որ եկող դարիներուն ինչպես պիտի դիմակրավեն այդ նյութական դժվարությունները դպրոցներու հարցի մասին խոսեցանք որ դժվարություն ունին փագեն նյութական դժվարություն ունին դարեցներու խնդիրը կա բժշկական խնդիրներ կա եւ ինչպես մեր բոլոր փորձառությունը ցույց կտա որ մեր համայնքները կբահվին մեր ժողովրդի հատկապես միջին խավի նյութական պայմաններով եւ հավանաբար դերգանուխ է բայց հավանաբար նաեւ կրնանք ասել որ աբակայի այս եկող գարշ շրջանին նույնիսկ հավանաբար մեր մեծ նվիրատուները կորձարարները դժվարություն ունենան նյութական որովհետեւ այս դնդեսական վնասները որ իբր հետևանք համաճարակին դեղի կունենան նաև գաստեն բոլոր հայ կորձարարները բոլոր հայ նվիրատուները որոնք մեծ ներդրում ունեցած են եւ ունին այսօր բայց նաև պետք է անդրադառնանք որ նման խավի մարտիկալ մեր համայնքներուն հավանաբար դժվարություններ ունենան եւ հետեւաբար մեզի գինա որ սկսենք նաև մտածել որ մեր համայնքային կառույցները եկեղեցիները ակումբները դպրոցները ինչպես պիտի գարենանք ֆինանսավորել բահել որբեսի այս համաճարակի կորձած ավերներեն դուրս գանք ուրեմն Այդա back to you if you have questions to our audience. So we are going to take some questions.
I was too much everywhere. I was
engrossed into the questions.
Exactly. I was trying to read. There's a quite of a like a feed, which is a fast feed. So I could only see one or two things, unfortunately. And I put it online for you, Hraj, so that maybe you can ask. It's a question in Armenian by Kayan.
Did you send me by
I sent
WhatsApp?
I can send it via WhatsApp, yeah, but I send it with the.
Send me by WhatsApp because I'm joining it with my phone. It's difficult to go back and forth on the phone.
Okay. Hold on. In that, maybe I can do the following in between. Hold on. Too many things at once. Sorry.
I read the question. It's directed to me. I can repeat it.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you
read it if you like?
That's even better.
Yes. Go ahead, Sarah. Why are you doing that?
The question is related to our office's philosophy, whether the philosophy is much more of a Hayastan-centered philosophy, as opposed to a Spjörk-centered philosophy. And can I comment on that? That's the question. Look, when we came into this position and created our vision, it was always considered to be a two-way street. So it's always strong Armenia, strong diaspora, without one being more important than the other. However, we do feel our office's philosophy is also anchored in the idea that if we don't have a very strong Armenia, a very strong state, then it's going to be even more difficult to be able to keep our diaspora communities strong and keep our diaspora Armenian. So yes, if it's been noticed that our sometimes I think in Armenian, but mer barapashara, right? Our language is related much more to being state-centered, then it's true. It is a more of a state-centered philosophy. However, not because one is more important than the other, but mega musitse bukhum. In other words, the state-centeredness of it, the purpose of that is to also feed into a very strong diaspora. I hope I was able to answer the question.
Yep, thank you.
So I was just going to do
like...
a little bit of a summary in Turkish for Hachigs, because obviously this is still a Bolsahai venture of sorts. So I was going to do that. I don't know whether in between I had the time to thank Sara. Sara, thank you so much. I don't know whether I thank you at the beginning. I was supposed to. So this is our first run. I'm very sorry if I didn't. Because I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just learning by doing it. So when I started talking about Istanbul Armenians, I gave a little bit of sort of English presentation. Now I'm going to turn back to Turkish, unfortunately. I know some of you do understand Turkish anyway, anyhow, those of you Middle Eastern Armenians. I have been to Beirut last year. I felt home for a number of reasons, and language was one of them as well. My Armenian, unfortunately, is Hoganots Armenian, so Hoganotsi hayren gukhosim, anorama hayren chem gırnar gukhosim. Hima Türkerem mi gukhosim. Sevgili izleyiciler, İstanbullular, bu programı tabii İstanbul'dan yapıyoruz aslında. Hırat Çilingiryan'ı tanıyorsunuz hepiniz. Oxford'da kendisi hoca, ben de NYU'da öğretiyorum. Programı yaparken bütün diasporayı bir araya getirmeyi hedefledik bir şekilde. Tabii ancak bu kadarını şimdilik yapabildik. İlerleyen günlerde daha başka ülkelerden de duymayı hedefliyoruz. Ben İstanbul'dan özellikle Surpurgiç Hastanemizin başhekimi değerli Armenak Mezaduryan'la görüşecektik. Fakat son dakikada kendisinin bir pandemi toplantısı çıktı. Acil gelemedi. Fakat peşindeyiz kendisinin. İnşallah ilerleyen haftalarda alacağız. Ve Haçik Canel de bugün 5 ile 9 arasında akşamüstü şimdi anlatacağım konuda bir toplantısı vardı. O yüzden gelemedi ama ben dün onunla röportaj yaptım. Bana uzun notlar yani notlar söyledi, o yani röportajı yaparken not tuttum. Şimdi biraz onlardan bahsedeceğim. Bir dakika notlarıma döneyim çünkü bayağı heyecanlıyım. Hatırlamıyorum tek tek notlara bakayım. Oradan size döneyim Türkçe. Şimdi özellikle kadasetli Sayın Patrik Hazretlerinin, Saak Maşalyan II Hazretlerinin teşebbüsüyle ve kutsamasıyla başladıkları bu yardım koordinasyon grubu Mart ayının ikinci haftasına itibaren çalışıyor. Haçik Canel de kendisi normalde bir bilgisayar mühendisi, fakat bu yardım ve koordinasyon grubunun koordinatörü. Dolayısıyla kendisi ilk elden bize neler yapıldığını anlatma fırsatı buldu. İkinci haftada buluşan bu topluluk 22 Mart'tan itibaren yemek, gıda yardımı yapmaya başladı. Bu gıda yardımının ilk aşaması 6-7 kez dağıtımdan oluşuyordu. Yani 6-7 kez dağıttılar ilk aşamada. 22 Mart'la 20 Nisan arasında. Ve bu sürede 1700 aile yardım aldı. paketleri kendilerine teslim edildi. İlk seride, ilk paket seri içinde işte gıda malzemeleri ve temizlik malzemeleri vardı. Bunlar her aileye bir ay yetecek kadar miktardaydı. Şimdi koordinasyon grubu ikinci seferi yapıyor. İkinci seferde bu ayın sonuna kadar devam edecek. Bu paketler hem yereldeki İstanbul Ermenilerine, ihtiyacı olan İstanbul Ermenilerine, hem de Ermenistan'dan Türkiye'ye gelmiş çalışan Ermenistanlı ailelere dağıtılıyor. Bunun içinde İstanbul'da 8 tane kilise merkez olarak seçildi. Bu 8 merkez hem koordinasyona hem de dağıtıma yardımcı oluyor. Bunlar Feriköy, Samatya, Kumkapı, Üsküdar, Ortaköy, Yeşilköy, Bakırköy ve Kadıköy. Fakat seyircilerimiz yanlış anlamasınlar. Diğer kiliselerimizde çalışıyorlar. Ancak bunlar merkez, diğerleri uydu kilise olarak, örneğin Samatya Yenikapı'ya da hizmet veriyor ve onların da her kilisenin kendine özgü listesi var. Onların listelerinden yararlanarak yardımı gönderiyorlar. Bu kiliselerde yaklaşık 10-12 kişi sekreterimiz var. Her gün durmaksızın çalışıyorlar, pandeminin başından beri tüm gün çalışıyorlar. Çünkü oldukça zor bir koordinasyon ve oldukça emek isteyen bir koordinasyon. Kendilerine de çok teşekkür ediyoruz buradan. Normalde pandemi öncesinde kiliseler 500 aileye bakıyor ortalama. Fakat bu rakam bugünlerde 1700 aileye çıkmış durumda. Şimdi yardım koordinasyon grubu Haziran sonuna kadar bu paketleri dağıtacak. Fakat Türkiye'nin de pandemiye verdiği yanıtın nasıl gittiğine bağlı olaraktan, örneğin şu anda iş kaybı olan insanlar işe geri dönerlerse veya daha iyileşme olursa durumlarda, ona göre yeniden listelere bakacaklar. Çünkü özellikle Ermenistan'dan gelen ailelerde kişi başına $600 kazanan aileler var. Herkes öyle değil tabii. Kimi daha az, kimi daha fazla. Ancak öyle bir durumda, işlere geri dönüldüğü durumda bu rakama tekrardan bakılacak. Fakat her şeye rağmen tabii kiliseler sene sonuna kadar 500 aileye yardım vermeyi düşünüyorlar bir sene daha. Bu çalışmalara bütün İstanbul örgütleri, yani bütün kilise örgütleri, kişisel bağışçılar ve bildiğiniz üzere bütün yardımseverler katıldılar. Ve bu fonu da büyütmeyi ve devam ettirmeyi düşünüyorlar. Onun dışında da bizim kiliselerimizin değişik örgütleri, mesela işte gençlik örgütleri veya koroda söyleyenler veya tıbrat tasda olanlar başka lojistik işlerini, örneğin tek tek ailelere paketleri paketlemekte vesaire yardımcı olarak, yani 25 kişilik böyle gruplar halinde, dönerli gruplar halinde geliyorlar, paketliyorlar, paketlemeleri ve dağıtmaya yardımcı oluyorlar. Yani gördüğünüz üzere çok geniş, çok kapsamlı bir dağıtım var orada. Bir de bugün Haç'in gelememesinin sebebi, 3 hafta önce yeni bir grup kurulmuş, gençlerimizin oluşan, ismi Destek Grubun. Ve bu destek grubunun işi de şu: her gün gönüllüler bir listeden ihtiyacı olanları telefonla arayıp nasıl olduklarını soruyorlar ve neye ihtiyaçları olduklarını soruyorlar. Bunlar illa yani böyle işte gıda olmak vesaire zorunda değil, başka ihtiyaçlar. Mesela geçen haftalarda bir kişinin hukuki desteğe ihtiyacı olmuş. Çünkü emekli maaşının üzerine haciz konmuş. Bildiğiniz üzere Türkiye'de emekli maaşının üzerine normalde haciz konulamıyor. Fakat hacizi kaldırmak için bir prosedür var. O prosedürü bu kişi kendi başına yapamayacağı için destek grubundan arkadaşlar kendisine hukuki destek vermişler örneğin, çünkü bu bayağı zor bir şey. Veya bir başka daha fazla yaptıkları işlerden bir tanesi, destek grubunda eczacılarımız var. Bildiğiniz üzere Türkiye'de ilaçlar merkezi sistemden yazılıp ayarlanabiliyor ve yenilenebiliyor. Eczacılar sistemden hastaların ismini görebiliyor. Örneğin bu çeşit hastaların ismini görüp ilaçlarını yenilemek vesaire de yaptıkları işlerden bir tanesi. Veya Haçik bana söyledi mesela, o da enteresan bir şey. Yaşlılardan yaşlı bezine ihtiyacı olanlar olabiliyor. O normalde paketin içinde olmayan bir şey. Fakat bu destek grubu bu çeşit kişi bazında ihtiyaçları da karşılamaya çalışıyor. Bir de Haçik'in söylediği, bizim kısa sürede erişemediğimiz, çünkü biz normalde Doktor Mezaduryan'la Haçik'i alacaktık, bugün Haçik Canel'i alacaktık, alamadık. O yüzden de çok örgütlenemedik. İnşallah onlardan da haber alacağız. Bir de gönüllü kadınlarımızın, kadın örgütlerimizin yaptığı Gamma Vordiginler dediğimiz bir örgütümüz var. Onlar da yaşlılara ve yine ihtiyacı olanları günde arıyorlar. Hallerini, hatırlarını sormak için, moral destek olmak için, onlarla dua etmek için, onlara biraz konfor vermek için arıyorlar ve hallerini, hatırlarını soruyorlar. Gördüğümüz gibi İstanbul'daki cemaatimiz her zaman olduğu gibi geniş, yaygın örgütlülüğüyle duruma ilk haftalardan itibaren müdahil olmuş durumda ve ihtiyacı olanlara yardım götürüyor. Sorularınızı Türkçe sorabilirsiniz. Ben çevireceğim. Görmüyorum şu anda Facebook'u. Biraz zaman alabilir. Fakat sorun lütfen.
Aida, before we go to the questions, thank you for that Turkish summary. I want to go around because our time is also getting shorter and ask a last round of questions to our panelists for them to give us a short answer about 2 or 3 the main issues that they think that their communities will be facing. And Sarah, in your case, what do you think in the coming 12 months would be your priorities vis-a-vis the diaspora? So perhaps we could start with Sırpazan. Sırpazan, garnak yergu yerek garevor gedere vor cer համային կգարձեք որ պիտի թիմակրավե այս եկող ասենք 12 ամսվա ընթացքին գարջ եթե գրնակ անոնք նշել որովհետեւ մեզ լսողները դեղյա գլան որ հարաճիգային ինչ խնդիրներ ունի Սուրիա հայությունը. Could we open the microphone, Aida?
Oh, yes, sure, hold on.
Սրբազան հայերենով կամ անգլերենով Սրբազան.
Լավ, ուրեմն գրգին շնորհակալություն։ Անշուշտ մենք չենք գիտեր ինչքան պիտի շարունակվի այս վիճակը, այս ճգնաժամը։ Միա մեկ բան գուզեմ ասել, որ ընդհանրապես մեր քաղուտը, Սուրիո քաղուտը ինքնակազմակերպ եւ շատ աշխուժ քաղուտ մնե իր բոլոր հաստատություններով։ Լան անոնք միութենական, մշակութային, մարզական, Փարեսիրական, Փարեկորձական եւ հոգեվոր թաշտերում մեջ։ Այսինքն մենք ունենք շատ զորավոր ներուժը, որ գրնանք մեր ծառայությունը բերել մեր ժողովրդին։ Ինչպես հիշեցիք, այո, այս բոլոր ծառայությունները կգադարվին նաեւ մեր ազնիվ բարերարներուն, որոնք այսօր կամ հերացած են եղրեն, կամ այսինչ այն պատճառով իրենք տնտեսական խնդիրներու մեջ են, իրենց արհեստին եւ արևդուրին պատճառով, որոնք չեն գրնար իրենց այդ ազնիվ եւ հարգավոր նվիրատվությունը կատարել եւ ամբողջ այս հոգսը գինա եկեղեցվո եւ դերվոյն միություններուն վրա։ Ես մեկ բան կտեսնեմ, որ մարդիկ այսօր հույսի գարիք ունեն, այս շատ կարեւոր է։ Եվ այդ հույսը պիտի երևի ոչ թե անձնական կյանքի մեջ մանավանդ, բայց պիտի երևի մեծ ընտանիքներու մեջ, որը եկեղեցին է, միությունն է եւ գազམ་ագերբություններն են։ Մենք ամեն ինչ կկատարենք համագործակցությամբ ժողովրդին անհրաժեշտ ինչ որ գարիքները հոգալու համար։ Անոնցմե առաջինը դպրոցական գրթական թաշտն է։ Եվ երբ գսեմ ես սպյուրքի մեջ եմ մանավանդ Սուրիո մեջ, երբ գսեմ դպրոցական գրթություն, չի նշանակել միայն գիտելիքներ, այլ նաև հայաբահբանության եւ ինքնության խնդիր։ Եվ այդ իսկ պատճառով, ինչպես նշեցի, մենք կձրակրենք հիմա կամ կմտածենք, եթե արիտ ընձայվի, ամառվա շրջանին իրական դպրոցի, ամառնային դպրոցի վիճակով մեր երեխաներուն դալ այն ինչ որ իրենք չգրցան հետևիլ դարեգան դարվա ուսումնական դարվա շրջանին այս մեկ երկրորդ հիմնականը գուքա նյութականով մեր ժողովրդին նեցուկ գենալու նախ եւ առաջ ասեմ որ մենք փորձը կատարեցինք ընդհանրապես սննդագողովներով օգնել մեր ժողովրդին բայց հետո տեսանք որ ընդհանրապես երկրին մեջ այսօրվա իրավիճակի մեջ սնունդի բագասի խնդիրը չի գա ամենտեղ գրնան գտնան եւ այս սնունդի գողովներն ալ պատրաստել իրենց դժվարությունները կբերեն որովհետեւ եթե այսօր մենք որոշենք ծրագրել արդեն 1 շաբաթ եւ 10 օր գարնե եւ ի վերջո մեր սննդագողովներն ալ գրնալ ամեն մեկ ընտանիքին յուրահատուկ ճաշակին եւ անհրաժեշտության թարգմանը չլա Այդ իսկ պատճառով ուղղակի նյութական ամիջական օժանդակություն կգադարենք, որբեսի իրենց նյութական գարելություններուն վրա ավեցնեն այն, որովհետև կորձի եւ սղաջի այս պայմանների մեջ իրենց կարիքները հոգալու։ Եվ հիմա մենք այո, մեր անձնական գարելություններով, ինագադինում քաղաքային, եւ նաեւ անհատ շատ քիչ բարերարներով դրցանք արդեն 2 անգամ, 3 անգամ այս ասեմ ապրիլի մարտի 2-րդ կեսեր մինչև այսօր օգնել մեր ժողովրդին եւ հիմա մենք ծրագիր կա որբեսի այդ շարունակենք մոտավորապես ամսական ծրությամբ այսինքն մենք չենք կրնալ իրենց ամսականի ամբողջությամբ այդ կարողությունը հայտարարել բայց իրենց կրնանք նեցուկ կենալ այսօր գողքին ես կուզեմ ասել թե անշուշտ մեր գարոդյալ ընտանիքներուն թիվը շատցան բայց մենք ունենք բարակամը նաեւ իմ առաջնորդության բարակային Հոմսի մեջ մենք ունենք այսօր մոտավորապես 100 ընտանիք եւ գտնամ ասել Հոմսի բادرազմական տնտեսական ճգնաժամին հետևանքով գրեթե 100 ընտանիքն գարիքի մեջ է եւ հիմա մենք այս շրջանին մեր նյութական օժանդակությունն ալ պիտի գադարենք այնտեղ որովհետեւ անոնքալ այսինքն գետրոնացված աշխատանքեն դուրս չմնան ոչ թե միայն մայրաքաղաքի Դամասկոսի մեջ այլ նաեւ իրենց այդ գարիքը հոգանք եւ այս ծավով մինչ այդ մենք կձրակրենք արդեն ինչպես ամենտեղ արցանց ինչ որ ուսումնական մրցութային նկարչության երկի ասմունքի այսպիսի շարժումներն էլ որբեսի մեր զավակները ներգրավեն գրգին հոգեվոր մշակութային գրթական կյանքին մեջ բայց հիմնականը ասոնք ժամանակավոր են ծեր հարցումնի պատասխան 12 ամսվա աստվածը ավելի քիչ ժամանակի համար մենք կձրակրենք ապահովել ամսական ծրությամբ իրենց նյութական օժանդակություն որբեսի այս ճգնաժամին դուրս ելեն եւ հետեւին մեր հոգեվոր գրոնական մշակութային եւ գրթական կյանքից
Scancheli. Shragalem Serpazan. Sarah, I know that you have to leave for another webinar, so I'd like to give the floor to you to say your thoughts before you leave us.
Thank you, Hiraj. I'm still on until 9 p.m. I still have another 30 minutes. So
okay.
My next one is at 9. But in terms of the question was, what problems do we see ahead? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Vis-a-vis the diaspora, obviously.
Look, we have to completely rethink our programs this year. We have to change everything. We're in the process of that. For example, this summer, we were going to be hosting over 800 the government of Armenia was going to be hosting over 800 young kids from 13 to 18 years old to come to Armenia and spend the summer here. Now we're trying to figure out if we can offer that experience online. So it was in Armenian language, Armenian culture, Armenian history program. In September, we were going to have what we titled the Global Armenian Summit, where we were going to invite 2,000 people from the diaspora, leaders from the diaspora, to come to Armenia for 1 week conference. So we have to rethink that as well. Is that something that we're going to do online, or are we going to wait? The other issue is locally, we have 24,000 kids who can't study because they don't have a computer or tablet or any kind of electronic equipment here. So this is, again, back to Armenia. This is another issue that we're trying to see if we can solve through our diaspora contacts. So we're in the process of rethinking everything, I think, the same as everybody else in the diaspora. Obviously the dream is, just one last sentence. Obviously the dream is to have, be in such a situation one day where communities in distress could receive direct assistance from the state. That's the dream. That's where we would like to be, and that's where we would like to go. We're not there now, but certainly that's the position that we would like to be in the future.
Sarah, before you leave, I have one quick question for you asked by Sevan Habib. This is a question to you. Is Armenia helping Syrian Armenians travel to Armenia from Syria and Lebanon at the moment?
Yes, if they have, if they're one of three categories. A citizen, they have a passport, they're a citizen, also a citizen of the Republic of Armenia, a dual citizen. B, have some kind of a residency permit, 10-year special passport, etc., or are the immediate family member of someone who is a citizen or resident of Armenia. In those situations, yes, our colleagues at the Foreign Ministry are organizing their travel to Armenia. And by the way, the opposite way as well. We had several, for example, actually Lebanese Armenians who were basically stuck here and needed assistance, financial assistance, just to live here until they were able to fly back to their home countries. So we're also working on that.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a general question for everybody. Just feel free if you want to sort of answer to this question. But hold on. Sorry.
Aida, I ask a question. I'd like Khachig and Serop to make their comments about very quickly about the needs in the coming 12 months, and then let's go to the final few questions. Okay. Serop and Khachig. Maybe Serop, if you want to go first, and then we hear Khachig.
Would be very fast. Main issues. You said, what are the main issues?
Yeah.
Number one, we are in it and we are expecting to be worse. We're gonna have be talking about two main things. Number one, socio-economic fall down. So we will be witnessing more and more unemployment, more and more social issues, more and more Armenians becoming school dropouts because they are unable to pay school tuitions. We will be seeing more and more Armenians not pursuing their higher education. They will not go to universities. We will witness more dependency, more Armenian families living in becoming worse, and we will witness dependency. This is a socioeconomic fall, and things are going to go from bad to worse. Number two, we're going to witness lots of immigrations. There will be many Armenians immigrating, especially to Hayastan. As we were witnessing before, there will be many younglings, 18 years old, or I don't know how, they will go and they will pursue their higher education in Hayastan, university education. And I hope that the Armenian government over there will be helping these people because their parents will not be able to support these younglings to pursue their higher education. We will also witness through the immigration many high-tech young Lebanese Armenians, 24, 25, 30 years old. They will find, hopefully, good businesses, or they will initiate startup businesses, specifically high-tech industry businesses from Hayastan. We are witnessing that, and we will be witnessing more. So Armenia, get ready to receive good brains from Lebanon, younglings, to pursue their high education and take care of these people. They are really amazing people. And I'm sure that with their input, they will be creative. So these are the two main issues to remedy those issues. So number one, to fight back those issues. Number one, we will maintain the good health of our citizens, Armenians living in Lebanon. So we will pursue harder, we will work harder to maintaining the good health of these people by giving, number one, good and professional, free, available, attainable, sustainable treatment, medical treatment for everyone. Those who are healthy, we want to keep them healthy. That's what we are doing as Karagözyan Foundation and in collaboration with other partners. Number two, we're gonna continue doing several preventive and educative campaigns, because you know that prevention is better than cure. Prevention is cheaper than cure. Number three, we're gonna do professional follow-up campaigns for the healthy people to remain healthy, to maintain healthy. By doing a follow-up campaigns, we're gonna do more and more psychosocial support, mental health care support, and all the necessary follow-ups as we already put the strategy, and we as Karagosian Foundation are already been doing that. For example, last year, 2019, we were able to reach out 50,000 humans, 50,000 cases where we provided complete well-being of these people, including Armenians. Number 4, we will focus more about developmental programs. We will encourage more people to be creative, to open small and medium-sized enterprises. I mean, I don't know how, but we're going to do that. We're not going to give up. We're going to do that. And number 5, and lastly, we have to be creative. And we have to integrate, and we have to learn to work together and to create a synergy, powerful synergy between the Armenians living in Lebanon. And I think we are in a good startup. We're not there yet, but we can do that. For the immigrants, for the immigrations, we can do the only thing that we can do is to take care for the elderly who will remain in Lebanon. And I'm sure that the younglings, the creative people, the brain people who will go to Hayastan or elsewhere, currently Lebanese people, it's not open for Lebanese to go elsewhere as immigration. Maybe Syrians are better, but for the immigrants going to Hayastan, it will be possible. One last thing, little bit in terms of creativity. What we did as Karagosian is to knock the door of big and international foundations, World Bank, World Health Organizations, UN agencies, big international foundations, and write grant proposals and to be on a continuous basis, because only with the help of the Howard Karagosian Fund, we're unable to sustain it. So that's what we started. That was our strategy 3 years ago. That's what we're going to continue. And God help us.
Okay, thank you, Serop. And Khachik, can you do it in 30 seconds?
Okay.
Because we're running out of time.
Yeah, I know. Thank you very much. Very quickly, I cannot think in the post-pandemic yet. What I can think, it's about a gradual adaptation to the new normal that will follow up this. I think that we will face a tremendous economic situation, every and each institution. And I'm not going through all the details, especially the educational institution. I'm not going through all the details, but let me tell you one thing. I cannot stress enough that there is no community, there is no diaspora without the institutions. The diaspora is not the sum of the Armenian individuals. And whether we have an Armenian-centered view or diaspora-centered view, I mean, the most important thing is to recognize the institutions as the constitutive part, the most important constitutive part of the diaspora, of the Armenian identity. We are working towards that. We are working towards that. Thank you.
Indeed, very good point, Khachik, that applies not only now, but it has been the case, the importance and the significance of institutions for diasporic life. Aida, back to you. Can we take very short question?
Just one question, because I promised I'm going to ask the question. This is from Rafi Yerevan. I don't know where he is from, but this is the question. Hold on, please. The question is, how can we build upon mechanisms, networks, and processes established as a result of this crisis toward the establishment of a more robust culture and infrastructure of assistance at levels of community and diaspora? In other words, how can we deploy what we learned here towards the future? Any ideas?
I think it's a very good question, but probably this is a topic for a separate topic that we need to explore, and not just give a one sentence. I think it's
okay, and in that case, we should thank Rafi for giving us an idea of a topic for another program.
I think I would respond, if I may, because this is also would be what part of my conclusion for today's discussion, which relates to Rafi's question, is indeed our quick learning experience of how to use virtual tools and platforms to unite our talents, our resources within our communities, but also within the diaspora and with Armenia. I think there is a great lesson here and an experience that we need to build on, because it looks like we have learned how to bring Armenianness, Armenian culture, and Armenian concerns to our homes, to our living rooms, and to our bedrooms. This is something perhaps that was missing before, because we always went to the Agum, we went to events, which is important, but here we are discussing local issues, but on a global platform, because we are, after all, as Armenians, connected. If one finger is hurting, the whole hand, the whole body is hurting. Therefore, this kind of forums and this kind of discussion, I think, would be very important for us to tackle these local issues, but also learn from each other and try to help from each other's talents and capabilities and so on. So I want to thank all the panelists for their time and their thoughts and participation. And I leave it to you, Aida, to make the concluding remarks.
Thank you, everybody, for joining, for making the time for us. This is an inaugural event for us. So sorry for the mishaps at the beginning. We were prepared really very well, but something happened at the beginning. Having said that, I also concur with Hrach on this. And this was the reason why we started talking with Hrach about what we can do to bring this kind of learn discussion, not just, like talking heads, but everybody who is like the top professional in their fields, who can give us, what they're doing, so that we can learn from each other. Because obviously Beirut has different, it's more or less the size-wise probably around the same size as Istanbul, but a different, much more sort of entrenched, perhaps, organizations than Istanbul, for a variety of historical reasons. And Syria has a whole other host of issues, obviously, and Latin America. I'm saying Latin America because I don't think it's going to stay with Argentina alone. We're going to probably have more people from Latin America in the upcoming days to give us what they have in terms of problems or topics, etc., from within their communities. So we want to really make this a kind of a space, virtual space, where we can come together, learn from each other, from each other's experience, which is quite different for a number of infrastructural and other historical reasons. But notwithstanding, we can still learn from each other, and not just any talking heads, as is sometimes, like the case within our communities. We talk a lot, we are very passionate, which is a good thing, but we really need professionals to come together to spend time on important issues with the knowledges that they can, with the knowledge base that they can bring into the discussion. So this was very informative for me. I have to re-watch this episode, because in the meantime, I was trying to coordinate 24 different things. So I'm going to make some time next week, watch this and then get back in touch with you on a number of issues. And I'll make sure that people who are on the same page with you in our Bolsa High community have also an access to this. Somehow I will email other lists that I didn't have time to email before this. So thanks again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I guess
thank you to the audience who joined us.
Thank you, the audience. Sorry we couldn't take all the good questions. Hopefully next time we're going to have a better infrastructure for doing everything. Thank you. Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Urache. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Okay, leave the meeting.